the podium, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It's a privilege today to join in observing the 44th anniversary of the untimely death of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman here at the UN. For India, 15th August 1975 has special meaning because we started that day early in the morning observing our Day of Independence, because India got independence on 15th August 1947. And as you would understand, that observance of such national occasions are joyous occasions. But that joy very quickly turned into grief when we heard the news of the brutal assassination of Bangabandhu and members of his family. Unlike Ambassador Chowdhury, I was not witness to history. I was a footnote, very far away from the events. I remember that I was a small child, but what happened then still is an indelible memory in my mind, because we just couldn't believe that such a thing could happen to such a leader who was so revered in India. So I must say I'm grateful to the permanent mission of Bangladesh for organizing this event for the first time at the UN to share these memories. We've heard brilliant articulation, and I think anything that follows what Ambassador Chowdhury said is going to pale in significance, because he was witness to history. We are only footnotes to that witness that he was. But I think there are some things that we need to take away at the UN from what he has said. And perhaps the one thing that comes out in the documentary, as well as what he said, is Bangabandhu's journey was a commitment to unwavering belief in democracy, in passion for social justice, in emphasis on cultural inclusivity and identity that led to the liberation of Bangladesh. Now, these are all values that we at the UN cherish, nourish, and that we have an opportunity to link these with somebody who's contributed so much to history is, for us, a memorable occasion, even though it's come 44 years too late that we are observing this here. As Ambassador Chowdhury mentioned, 21st February, actually, which is known as Ekushe February, 21st February, which in 1999 was designated by the UN as the International Mother Language Day to promote awareness of linguistic and cultural diversity, would not have come but for the experiences that Bangabandhu went through 40, 50 years before that. And he obviously saw what none saw at that time, and that is the strategic implications of language in terms of identity, in terms of importance of language for communication, for social integration, for development, and for education. It took UNESCO and all of us 40 years or later that we started thinking of that. But he thought of this much earlier in terms of how it impacts on all our lives. And so thank you very much for Bangladesh to bring that to the UN in terms of a long-standing linkage between what Bangabandhu thought and what we all cherish here at the UN. His speech, again, for me, I was a bystander in 1971, a small child, as was said, is now in the pantheon of memory of World Register at the UNESCO. But it then also reverberated way beyond the borders of Bangladesh. the place where I grew up is about 2,000 kilometers away from the borders of Bangladesh. But as children, we always heard this reverberating sound of Joy Bangla. I don't know Bangla. I don't know what it means, but I know what it felt to say Joy Bangla when this was said by Sheikh Mujibur Rahman in early 1970s. It's a symbol of a cry of a nation which wants its identity. And that's what stuck us, and that's what is reverberating in our minds well after he has passed off. But anybody of my generation in that part of the world, Joy Bangla means a feeling which cannot be described. It did not impact me as a young child. I was not Bengali, I was not Bangla, but it impacted me as a human being, as a small child. And as you are aware, the ties between India and Bangladesh are special in many ways. We are bound by a common cultural and linguistic heritage of a language. It is no coincidence that the national anthems of India and Bangladesh are written by the same poet, Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore. Bangladesh, Amar Shonar Bangla, and India's Janagana Mana are visible bonds that indicate how two countries have owed their heritage to one common cultural, historical identity. Our relationship is also forged in common aspirations and sacrifices. I understand here there are some Mukti Jodhas who I would like to pay tribute to because they contributed specially to our ties. We are grateful to them. We always are appreciative of the services they rendered in strengthening the ties between Bangladesh and India. And as we work towards the 2021, we are working towards honoring them in various ways, including popularizing their contributions, because generations forget what they haven't been through. History requires us to keep repeating for our benefit that never again should things that have happened and which are not proper should be allowed to happen again. And the Mukti Jodhas are those living symbols of their ability to withstand difficult situations and overcome them. Our ties with Bangladesh today are perhaps better than ever. And this is a tribute to Bangabandhu's legacy, which, as Ambassador Chowdhury again put it, is manifested in his daughter's leadership of Bangladesh. Sheikh Hasina is a true inheritor of Bangabandhu's belief that ties between neighbors should be exemplary. And we are happy that our ties have just grown from strength to strength. These are, of course, small manifestations of ties beyond borders. But what is perhaps the lasting legacy of Bangabandhu is his vision of development in Bangladesh. Frankly, very soon after Bangabandhu's death, Bangladesh ran into difficult situations, as was just mentioned. And there were people who said, Bangladesh is an international basket case. Today, it's a transformation that I don't know who said it, but if he was around, he should be eating his words. Because today, Bangladesh is an example of how a country should be approaching its development and growth, whether it is in terms of economic development, education, social indicators, technology, banking, rural development, women's empowerment. It's a model for all of us in the developing world to emulate. And perhaps that is the greatest tribute that the present leadership of Bangladesh is implementing Bangabandhu's vision of what he wanted for Bangladesh. And that is the lasting tribute that all of us look at it with admiration. I understand that Bangladesh will be celebrating the 100th anniversary of Bangabandhu's birth this year, next year, my apologies, next year. We hope we can help in any manner, because it is important to recall struggles and achievements of the rich legacy of heroes of our past. And the UN is the right place to do it. If we can be of any help, we at the Indian Mission will be willing to help them in any manner. I once again thank Ambassador Masood for providing this opportunity to share common values, to strengthen our bonds, and to nourish global goals as espoused in the life and legacy of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman Bangabandhu. Thank you very much.